Training camp news coming at you here on Saints Now by Chat Sports. As always, I am your host, Trizzy Trace Gerard. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's program. We're going to first start off by taking some looks at the injury updates and the latest roster news for the New Orleans Saints, as they have made a couple of transactions and we have some big updates to talk about across multiple different players. We're also going to take a look at the new information around the quarterback battle in New Orleans. The Saints have released their unofficial depth chart, so we're going to take a look at what Kellen Moore is looking at doing in the preseason for the quarterback position. We also got some major news around Alvin Kamara, the Saints starting running back, and this is your friendly reminder to subscribe and turn on your notifications. That way you can get more information around your favorite football team. This is Saints Now by Chat Sports. We pride ourselves in providing Saints content by fans for fans. So join the over 47,000 crazy Saints fans who have subscribed and join the Golden Gang. Let's start off with Ross Jackson, the first of the roster updates. Two transactions that were made. Seth Green, the tight end that was signed out of the UFL, the Arlington Renegades, had some quarterback experience, was signed as a tight end. He had a tough camp in Metairie, but unfortunately he has been waived. He will not be making the trip to Irvine as the New Orleans Saints head out to get ready for preseason week 1. They did, however, make a move in response. They dropped a tight end, added a tight end. 49ers tight end Mason Pline, he has been signed by the New Orleans Saints, or claimed off of waivers by the New Orleans Saints. So out with the old, in with the new. A tight end has now entered the mix. Let's get to the injury news. Devin Neal, he is the most notable of the injury updates that we have here on Saints Now by Chat Sports today. He was sidelined with a hamstring injury. That hamstring injury is starting to kind of catch up with a couple different players on the roster. Right now, he is expected to miss a few weeks according to head coach Kellen Moore. But he is competing right now with a lot of different running backs. It's pretty loaded behind Alvin Kamara in the running back room in New Orleans. He was the 184th overall selection by the New Orleans Saints in the 2025 NFL Draft. Round 6, I am so shocked, and I was shocked, and I still am very, very surprised that a player of Devin Neal's caliber fell all the way to the 6th round. So in terms of what to expect here in the running back room for New Orleans, like we mentioned, it's a very loaded group. Kendre Miller, obviously, is a big player that Devin Neal is competing with to take snaps behind Alvin Kamara. But don't get it twisted, Cam Akers, also a really intriguing player. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, LSU legend. He is also a player who's been making noise. He was with the Saints last year, one of the first players that the Saints brought back in free agency this year. Marcus Yarns, a UDFA out of Delaware who's been making some noise. And Velus Jones Jr., a speed demon who also provides special teams value. So for all of the guys you see on your screen, except for one of them, actually two of them, the preseason is going to be very, very important. We're going to get to what I was talking about in a moment, but the preseason is very important for all of those players, especially Kendre Miller, Devin Neal, Cam Akers. Like, those are the guys that I'm really, really honing in on in these first few weeks. So for Devin Neal to miss week 1 and week 2, more than likely, definitely week 1, more than likely week 2, hopefully can be back by week 3. That's not good news. It comes at a very, very bad time when the Saints running back battles and the positional battles are only getting more intense. And, you know, you see the schedule, week 1 at the Chargers, week 2 at home versus the Jags, week 3, Sean Payton comes back to the Superdome in the preseason this time. We're going to be live for all 3 of these games. I hope you subscribe, turn on your notifications, and tune into the fun. But Devin Neal, like, this is a player that I don't understand how he fell to the 6th round. I'm also very, very, I'm not going to say worried. I'm really upset because I was really eager to see Devin Neal on the field. I mean, 3 straight seasons of over 1,000 yards, back-to-back seasons with 16 touchdowns. He's a Kansas Jayhawks legend, all-time leading rusher for the Jayhawks football program, and I really, really hope Devin Neal can return to action soon. I was so excited to see him take snaps and compete for the backup running back position, because between him and Kendre Miller, I think that that's a really interesting duo, and I think that there could be something there in terms of a big spark for the Saints offense in number 30, Devin Neal. So I hope that he can return to action soon. Of course, you don't want to rush him back from injury, potentially risk more injuries, but you know, he is a player that at Kansas never missed a snap due to injury, so this is very uncharacteristic of him. So for Devin Neal, hopefully he can get back on the field soon. Send some good vibes to number 30. The rookie running back needs your help, Who Dat Nation. Let's show him some support. Like this video. I know that Saints players watch this video. Fans of the team, family members of the team, players on the team. I know they like this video. So help me send some love Devin Neal's way so that way he knows we're in his corner. Like this video. Drop a thumbs up down below. Other injuries to discuss here. Juwan Johnson, the tight end, he's dealing with a hamstring injury. He's considered day-to-day. Today, he was limited at practice. He was wearing a jersey, no pads, limited action. I will say he went from week to week to now day-to-day. It's good news. I mean, I don't think that this was ever a major injury. This was really nothing ever overly concerning, but it is nice to see he's starting to kind of head in the right direction. Again, limited today. JT Gray, the safety, he returned to practice after dealing with a hamstring injury, so really good news for the New Orleans Saints special teams ace. Glad to have him back on the field. Wide receiver Moochie Dixon out of SMU, the undrafted free agent that the New Orleans Saints have signed. He was sidelined at practice as well alongside Devin Neal. He's considered day-to-day. He's dealing with a shoulder injury, so hopefully he can get back on the field soon and try to compete for a spot on the Saints roster and potentially the practice squad. Now, here's a major update. Alvin Kamara, we got to talk about RB1 because he will not be participating in the first preseason game against the Los Angeles Chargers. We're not sure about the future weeks, like week 2, week 3, maybe. Call me crazy. I don't think Alvin Kamara needs to play in the preseason, but I don't think it would hurt to run the first team offense a couple of times just so that way you can get a few reps on the field against another roster before the snaps actually start counting. It's the first time Kellen Moore's offense has been in New Orleans. It's the first time he's been the head coach, so I do think it would make sense for Kamara to take some snaps at some point, but that will not be happening week 1. Kellen Moore saying, Alvin Kamara, you won't be seeing him. We're good over there, but the rest of these guys, they're all going to get awesome reps. And so really all of them are live the entire game. We'll try and get as many looks as we can. That's Kellen Moore discussing preseason week 1 strategy in terms of the running back rotation. Look, I'll say this. A lot of players have a lot to prove here. We've talked about the running back room. We've shown you the players. We've discussed the names. I think that there is no player who has a bigger opportunity ahead of him than number 5, Kendre Miller. The former TCU Horned Frog was absolutely stellar when he was in college. And the Saints, they ended up drafting him. And I thought that it was a little bit of a questionable pick, but the more I watched, the more I fell in love with the player. But the tale of the tale, the story of his life and his NFL career thus far has just been unavailability, whether it's due to injuries or lack of preparation. He's on a clean slate. So this year I need to see Kendre Miller take advantage of the opportunities ahead of him. I'm not at all celebrating an injury for Devin Neal. That is not what I'm doing here, but I am saying Kendre Miller, you have the chance to really solidify yourself as the RB2. So take advantage of this injury that Devin Neal is suffering from and make the most of the reps you're going to get, because there's a lot of other guys in that rotation who need snaps as well. So Kendre Miller, I'm praying that he can be available. I'm praying he can stay healthy. I'm praying he can be a big-time factor for the Saints offense. He's been really, really fun to watch in the limited reps we've seen him in his career. Now, coming up, we're going to talk about some updates around the quarterback battle in New Orleans. Tyler Shough, Spencer Rattler, Jake Haener. Who's it going to be? The first unofficial depth chart is here, so we get to take a sneak peek at what Kellen Moore's thinking. Really quick, though, y'all know how Nike always has these fresh golf polos, and, oftentimes I'm a guy who's sitting there on a Saturday thinking, man, I really just want to go hit a couple day beers. I want to do some day drinking with the fellas, but I want to look good and rep my squad. I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of pissed off because this polo, I bought it a few weeks ago, was not on sale. I bought it for full price, $70. So if you want to be smarter than me and you want to stick it to the man, $70 polo, F that. It is now $47 with our link right here, chatsports.com/NOPolo. Chatsports.com/NOPolo. Check it out. It's obviously New Orleans. Click the link in the comments or description. They have all sizes available. We have this beautiful polo ready for the links, ready for some day drinking, or ready for Saints game day. It was $70. Now it's $47. Check out the sale, chatsports.com/NOPolo. All righty, let's talk quarterbacks here because this is a really not tough conversation. It's just like a very confusing one. Back and forth, this quarterback battle has gone. I will say I think Spencer Rattler is starting to run away with it. He's seeming to kind of separate himself as the leading quarterback in the Saints or on the Saints roster. He, for the second practice in a row, worked with the first team. And for what it's worth, that may not mean much, but that hasn't happened yet up until this point. No quarterback has had consecutive starts up to this point. So Spencer Rattler getting 2 in a row, I don't think is insignificant. He's been solid. He's had some good moments. He's had some mistakes. But what's most important is how he responds. If he can clean these things up and he can make less mistakes and run the offense at an efficient level, then I do believe Kellen Moore will pick Spencer Rattler to be the QB1. That's been the big theme, is how do these players respond? Now, a big player that needs to start having some positive responses, it's Tyler Shough. And by no means am I saying that he's been horrible. He's just had some highs, but more lows in my personal opinion. I do want to say context does matter. This is not entirely on Tyler Shough. For what it's worth, he's had to deal with some bad snaps. He's had to deal with players dropping the ball. So he's had to deal with mistakes from his teammates. Those are not all his fault, but a good leader can turn those mistakes into positive plays. And for Tyler Shough, I want to see him become that leader. I wanted to see him become comfortable as the leading quarterback. He had a really bad series with the first team offense at the end of practice today. Almost threw a pick to Jordan Howden on the first pass of the drill. And then he threw one 2 plays later on a deep ball to Chris Olave. Shout out to Jordan Howden. He read the ball really well. But Tyler Shough definitely needs to kick it into high gear if he wants to start for the New Orleans Saints this season. Now, Kellen Moore has not made a decision yet in terms of what to expect for the Saints quarterback room. He is not committed to any of the quarterbacks on the depth chart. So when the Saints released their first unofficial depth chart this year, for quarterback, normally you have it QB, like it goes down by position, and then you have like first, second, third, fourth, like for first string, second string, third string, fourth string. So for the first unofficial depth chart, for the QB position, they had Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shough or Jake Haener. I firmly do believe the quarterback competition really is between Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shough. But shout out to Jake Haener for hanging around and being good enough to stick around and be considered for the starting quarterback position. The fact that nobody has truly run away with it is a little bit concerning. But I also will say this. I think Kellen Moore just keeping the cards close to his chest and not trying to spill too many beans quite yet. Now, I personally think Spencer Rattler should start week 1, but I want to hear from you. I've given you my take over and over and over again. I do think we'll see Tyler Shough start a few games this season, but week 1, I think it makes more sense to start Spencer Rattler. What do y'all think? Get in the comments section. Type the initial of the quarterback you think should start week 1 versus the Arizona Cardinals. Kellen Moore, you're starting to learn a lot about him the more times he speaks to media. He really does not tip his hand whatsoever. Very, very rarely is he sharing information, and you hear media ask him questions and poke and prod and try to dig deeper, and Kellen Moore does a really good job of keeping his cards close to the chest. He doesn't reveal a lot of the secrets. He wants to keep the information internal because that is an advantage for the team with the information. Now, for Kellen Moore, as a fan, it's annoying. I want to know what's going on, but I also can appreciate my head coach valuing a certain level of secrecy and how the team is operating and how the team is looking. My opinion, Spencer Rattler will start the first few weeks of the season, and then we'll see how things go. Like, I don't think it's crazy to say Spencer Rattler will start weeks 1 through 4. Week 5, week 6, maybe we reevaluate and revisit this conversation. Maybe it's Jake Haener if Tyler Shough's not ready to go. But if Shough's ready to roll, then I expect him to get some starts too. The Saints drafted Tyler Shough 40th overall. They're going to get a look at least a few times at Tyler Shough this season. Two things can be true. I think Spencer Rattler's winning the competition. I think that he will be the starting quarterback week 1, but I also think Tyler Shough will get to start a few games this season. If you're kind of picking up what I'm putting down, I think we'll see a little bit of movement in the quarterback room in terms of who's starting and who's the backup. Now, if you guys want to get more information in between these videos, I highly encourage you to hit your boy up on social media, X, Instagram, TikTok. I posted about the Devin Neal injury on all of these platforms before I took it to YouTube. So if you want to know what's going on with the New Orleans Saints and a quicker and more personal matter, because we can chop it up and interact more directly, hit your boy up on social media. Or in the comments in description of this video have the links to all of my profiles. Y'all stay golden. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.